Good morning, Springfield, Ozarks, and Branson. It's good to be back. Boy, I'll tell you what, that bronchitis really knocked you through a loop, especially in the last couple of weeks. So we're looking for a sunny day, but a chilly day. 55 is what we're looking at, and I hope to warm you guys up because we've got a great show for you today. And I'm looking forward to having Misty with us. And before I introduce her completely, I just want to be able to um, tell you a little bit about her so that you guys have an idea of who she is. So, Misty Layne went from being a Texas beauty queen at the brink of becoming a surgeon to facing a 40-year prison sentence, being killing or behind killing somebody. Cocaine and domestic abuse robbed her of 10 years of her life and led of horrific but rock bottom. She courageously describes in her best-selling book what goes up, and believe me, I've read the book, and it's definitely a page turner. You don't want to put it down. So I encourage you guys to get that book. And after hiding her dark, ugly secrets for years, she now steps up and speaks out with passion and transparency about how to overcome your worst to live your best. She founded Be That One movement, which encourages us to step up and speak out, to educate and bring awareness so we can judge less and mentor more. Misty transforms lives by helping release toxic beliefs through transparency to overcome any adversity with confidence and resilience. Her talk show Dare to Share with Misty Layne provides a platform for transparency to evolve and freedom to emerge. She also hosts Right to Ignite women's empowerment retreats and speak out workshops where she instills, encourages, and with confidence so your story can today can change your life tomorrow. excuse, excuse me. Misty practices nuclear medicine full time, serves as the vice president of Chemo Buddies for Life board, and is contributing journalist for several international magazines. I'm now going to introduce you to Misty Layne. Good morning, Misty.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I lost her. There you go. You ready? Here we go.
Good morning, Misty.
Good morning, Steve. I'm glad to see you're feeling better.
Thank you. If I cough a little bit, it's just clearing my throat.
It's okay.
See, for instance, that right there.
Yeah.
Um, so, Misty, it's been a while since I really appreciate you hooking up with me at I think it was, what was the workshop that Jill had?
Hope, health, and healing.
Hope, Health, and Healing. And I'm telling you what a workshop that was.
It was. It
And
was awesome.
and of course your testimony just is unbelievable. And I've read the book, and eh, you've had a hard life, and you did have a hard life, and I'm sure with what you're doing right now it can be hard as well.
Yeah. Well, it is. Steve, everybody has their journey, everybody has their bumps in the road. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is that we know we can all overcome our worst to live our best. And that what sets us apart from each other is what we choose to do with the knowledge on the other side of the adversity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt's
Goodness.
getting me some water. So
Okay.
um anyway, you know and I'm glad that your children were behind you with all this. I know that your daughters, or at least your daughter, one of your daughters, never stopped believing in you, and that she was behind you this whole time and praying,
Yeah,
wasn't she?
none of my kids stopped believing in me, but my oldest daughter was instrumental in me finding my way home. I was lost. I was just a lost soul out there. Crack cocaine is the devil. And I tell you, it'll take you down hard and fast. And my daughter was 18 at the time, and it was her letter that kind of made me realize I had life to live for. I was facing a 40-year prison sentence. I thought my life was over. And it was her letter that made me realize that um, I could turn it around.
Right. And before we get really into the the meat of what I wanted to ask you, I know that you gave a tour of Bucky's.
Yeah.
you, I'll tell you what. That's a friend of mine. She lives in the Houston area. She told me that's one of her favorite places. She lives in the Houston area, and she said, "I just love that place." And it's and I said, "Isn't like it's like a department store?"
It really
And
is. It's huge.
I mean, it
It's
looks from what the tour that you showed, and it was great. It looked like a department store to me, and I'm like, you said 116 pumps. Is that now?
Yeah,
Are
gas
they all that
pumps.
big?
Yeah. Most of them are. There's some a little smaller. This is in the Houston area, the one I went to, so it is one of the large ones. But there's just so many, and it's actually it is a gas station, but they've turned it into like a mini mart. It's a meat market. It's a merchandising store. It's you get your fresh beef jerky made. It's all made there. It's just delicious food, homemade fudge, just everything. Texas, they're going to do it up. They're going to go all out. So it's definitely an all out. They even have merchandise around the little chipmunk, which is Bucky. They have seasonal outfits and everything. I mean, it's just the rage, and it's only in Texas. Bucky's are only native to Texas, so it's just something people drive from all over just to come visit one.
Well, I'm gonna have to come and see you, so you
Okay.
so we can go to Bucky's and you can show me. I mean, the
Yeah.
tour was great. So, but I'd love to be there in person. And my wife, she
Okay.
was like, "Wow, that place is huge," and I'm like, "Well, I'm sure you haven't seen nothing yet."
Yeah.
So, anyway, we just want to hear your testimony and share some of your testimony. We don't have a whole lot of time, but if you could just share some of your testimony and not give all the whole book away, but just some of what, without
Yeah.
giving some things away, just tell us your testimony.
Sure, Steve. Well, I grew up a pretty normal kid, so I thought everything in my life was just hunky dory. I was pretty spoiled rotten. I was always very competitive. I was in dance, sports, pretty much everything, music. I learned very early on in the beauty pageant system in Texas. I was 4 when I won my first crown. And I learned very early on the power that winning gave me, and it gave me this competitive edge and this thirst for this power, like moving forward throughout my life. So it kind of fueled me along the way. It gave me drive. It gave me ambition. I wanted to be a surgeon since I was about 13. I have a lot of medical people in my family. I knew right off the bat that's what I wanted. I started working my plan. Everything was coming into fruition. I got married in college pretty early at 20. Had my first daughter at 21. Still going to college, still working, making it work. It took me longer to get through college, but I did it. Got accepted into medical school. Everything was coming into play. I was on top of the world, and I found out my husband of 10 years had a woman pregnant, and we had two little girls at the time, and it completely devastated me. The
Oh
problem
boy.
is, I thought it was my fault. See, I blamed myself. I wasn't pretty enough, smart enough, funny enough, whatever it was my fault that he cheated. So I went on this quest, if you will, to find any kind of validation that I was good enough, and ended up finding my new best friend, which was cocaine. And I was 32 years old, a mother of two in medical school when I did my first line of cocaine. And it completely um, took me hostage, literally for 10 years. I became addicted immediately to it, to the high, to the escape it provided me, where perfectionism and adultery and all the pressure I put on myself for school, none of that mattered when I was high. So I got addicted to that feeling of um, not having so much responsibility all the time. And it just, that cocaine addiction turned quickly within a year into a crack cocaine addiction. And that's when all hell broke loose right there. Crack cocaine is the devil. Anyone out there struggling with drug addiction, it's tough, man. I hear you. I understand you. I've been there. Um, it is the hardest thing ever. You're helpless to it. You're hopeless. You feel abandoned, out of control. I found myself, here's the thing, Steve. A lot of people call me the resiliency queen, or I'm known as the empowerment and resiliency expert. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, see courage in me, and because I'm extremely transparent, you've heard me speak on stage, I don't hold back. It is what it
No, you
is.
don't.
I live, that's right. Because who's going to help anyone with a bunch of sugarcoating, right? People
Right.
want to sign up and think they're going to go to a party and get high. After talking to me, they're going to know exactly what they've signed up for. They're going to know exactly what their future is going to hold for them if they want to be addicted to drugs. So, I mean, I lay it on the line. So here I was, this really goody, and I was one of those good kids. I didn't do drugs in school. I didn't cuss. I was a good kid, and here I was now, 32-year-old mother of two, and I found myself doing all those things that I just could never imagine. All those things I said I would never do. Prostituting, um, stealing, not even from people, but from my own parents. Using stolen credit cards, writing checks all over the state of Texas, being followed by the Department of Texas because I had over $10,000 of hot checks I was writing out of an old closed account of mine. I mean, so much things, abortions I went through behind crack cocaine. I mean, it really was just a living hell, basically. And I ended up falling in love with my drug dealer, which, when we're not healthy, that's what we do, right? So
Right.
I tell people all the time, I use the analogy of an ocean. It's like if you're swimming at the bottom of the ocean where all the bottom feeders are and it's dark and murky and there's no fresh food, that's the only other fish you're ever going to see. So that's the only other fish you're ever going to mate with or attract. So you have to get yourself healthy and swim at the top of the ocean with the fresh food and the sunlight before you're going to attract a healthy mate. So here I was at the very bottom of the ocean. So what do? I fall in love with another bottom feeder, right? And
Right.
it is that was kind of the beginning of the end of Misty. The drugs had taken me down, but with him came domestic abuse. And that's when I don't want to tear up. I've said this 1,000 times, but every time it kind of gets me. But um, I truly lost my identity, Steve. He dictated everything, and it was a slow progression. It wasn't just like I woke up one day and, oh, bam, you're in a domestic abuse relationship. Abusers are very skilled manipulators. They know exactly what to play on, every insecurity you have, and they kind of ease you into it. And before you know it, they have full control of your life. I didn't even know what kind of music I liked, what kind of food I liked. I didn't even know what style of clothing I liked because he dictated everything to me. And I didn't even know it until I was away from him, physically separated. Of course, I knew I was getting the black eyes and the broken noses, but I mean, I didn't understand the control until I had gone to jail. And people would say, what do you want? What kind of food do you like? You want to trade me for this on your tray? And I was like, I don't know, whatever, because I had lost my identity. He stripped me of everything. So the domestic abuse piece is a really passionate part for me because I remember all too well what it felt like to be this small and not have a voice and be scared to use my voice and want to hide behind everything I could because of the black eyes, the humiliation. And again, Steve, internalizing it like, okay, it's me. I was ashamed of it, although I wasn't the one doing it. But see, I was ashamed because I was the one allowing it to be done to me. And that goes through everything I talk about today is behind fear of judgment. That's why I am so transparent because, we're so scared about what's everybody else going to think, especially being raised in the beauty pageant system. I mean, that's what we're taught to do, right? You taught to be judged all the time. So it was I was too scared for people to see that I was weak and I was letting a man do this to me. So that's where my shame came into play. And
Right. It's like being groomed.
it is. It is. And I tell people all the time, God does his magic all over the place. He sprinkles that dust everywhere because although my car accident was horrific and horrific things happened, like your show, Silver Linings, there are silver linings that came from it. And I teach people all the time, you have to retrain your brain because we're so used to looking at the negative in every situation. Oh, it's going to be a cloudy day. It's going to be miserable. It's going to be rainy. But, we have to retrain ourselves to look at the positive first and to feel it and see it and to look around us for all of God's beauty. God gives us signs and lessons every day, but we have to be open and receptive to it, or we'll never know. We'll never know what gifts he's trying to bestow on us. And the day that my wreck happened, it was I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, of course, doing the wrong things, and I was attacked and robbed. I lost control of my car. I ended up hitting someone and killing someone, knocked her under the house and killed her. She was standing in her yard. And I was facing a 40-year sentence and thought my life was over. I thought I was done. So I'd gone from medical school to sitting in prison. And huge depression set in. I'd never been suicidal, but to find the will to feel worthy of a breath every day, every second, every minute, because I had that survivor's guilt. I was in the wrong, but yet why am I allowed to sit here and breathe? Even if it's in a prison cell, why am I allowed here? I was in the wrong. It was really, really hard. And that's where my daughter comes into play, my oldest daughter, Lauren. I had just missed her high school graduation. And she wrote me a letter and she said, Mom, you've got to forgive yourself. That was an accident. And you've got to let all those things go that's haunting you, all those things that are keeping you up at night. You've got to give it to God. And so I made a long list of all the things I'd done to people. I just got it out like emotional vomit and made it and prayed over it and said, okay, God, just please take it from me. Forgive me for these things. And it just changed me. It just lifted enough for me to see that I had pain, that I needed help. I couldn't do it on my own, that I was a lost soul, that I had to make some changes. And so what I did is I started using writing. I was in jail. I didn't have a therapist. I didn't have antidepressants. They hadn't got me a counselor. I mean, I killed someone. They didn't even give me anybody to talk to. Not a lot. Not to mention, I was in the same jail with the two women that assaulted me. I mean, it was tough. But one thing I want to tell everyone, and I hope this sticks with you, is you have to remember at the end of the day, it's you and you alone. And you have to find your own strength to pull yourself up. And we all have it because God gave it to us all. We just have to tap into it. So I used writing. Writing is what saved my life. That book you read, Steve, I wrote it in a jail cell. It was full of anger and blame. It was very
Hmm.
dark. Um,
I can tell.
yeah, but see, that's not even the right version. So what happened was, fast forward. So that wreck happened on September 18th. I was very blessed to get a reduced sentence. I got 5 years instead of 40. I did my time. I got out. I restarted my life, made amends to the people I needed to. And then fast forward 8 years, my first grandbaby was born on the exact same day the wreck happened, September 18th.
Oh
She got
man.
stuck in the birth canal and came out blind and deaf, couldn't suck or cry, couldn't hold her body temperature, just almost complete brain damage, couldn't really do anything. And I let the devil convince me it was my fault. I mean, there's no way those dates could have been a coincidence. So I was convinced this was my punishment. This is what I got for killing someone. And it woke me up and made me realize, okay, God didn't bring you through those 10 years for you to sit here and not do anything with your book, not give back. God saved you so you could be a voice and step up and speak out. So what I did is I rewrote that book, changed it from anger and blame to forgiveness and accountability. And I just started becoming transparent. I had to learn because it's not easy. I had to learn that it wasn't about Misty anymore. And when I got up on stage and I feared that judgment from people, I just had to push through it and say, okay, it's not for you, Misty. It's for the person sitting out there that needs to hear it. Those that want to judge are going to judge, but they can just move over because the person behind them may need to hear you. So you have to be tough and strong to get through it. So that's what I do. I'm on God's mission now. I'm on His journey to step up and speak out and speak the truth around domestic violence, around perfectionism, around addiction, around forgiveness, around overcoming, resiliency, empowerment, all of those things. And so that's what I do today.
That's what Dare to Share is all about. Is that correct?
Dare to Share is my TV show, which is a platform where I allow other people to step up and speak out. Because the thing is, Steve, when we speak our truth, not even just to ourselves in the mirror, but to other people, it's liberating. It's freedom for us. It allows us to give back. And in a sense, when we start helping others and pulling them up, it heals us. It makes us feel worthy. It gives us value. And especially for addicts, that's what we're missing. We're missing our own value. And so, even when we're not completely healed, if you can just lift someone up to the level where you are, if you're better off than they are, then you're helping. And by doing that with transparency, it's true. It's true work that's being done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, you really helped me out, even though it wasn't domestic violence. In a way, I guess it was. It was bullying. It was bullying at
yeah,
home. It was bullying at church. Even, and that's sad. And it was
yeah.
bullying at school. And just your story, there was many stories. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
there was many stories that really touched me, but I'm telling you, your story really touched me enough to speak out and speak up, and that's what I'm going to be
Oh,
doing. So I
I'm
appreciate
so
that.
glad. I'm so glad. I remember when I got off the stage, you came up to me and you hugged me so tight. I remember, and that's what I do it for. Those moments right there, Steve. And if it can help just one person, it's worth it.
Yep, and you prayed with me and prayed. You knew that there
Hmm.
was something going on, and that's what I really
Yeah.
appreciated about you as well. Um,
Well,
so
thank you.
yeah, with workshops like that, you don't know who you're going to meet, who's going to be on stage. And of course, I saw the flyer. I didn't know anybody. I knew
Right.
Dr. Marla, but that she was the only one that I knew. But everybody had their own way of touching people's lives that were there. There wasn't a whole lot of people, but I'm sure that there was a lot of people, or the people that were there were touched, such as I.
Yeah. We were all touched by each other's stories, and that's what these things are for, just to come out and inspire others with your own inspiring story. I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you this question. And if you don't remember it, it's fine. It's been a long time ago. But I kept saying over and over during my talk, everything is going wrong just right. Because why? Do you remember? Because
Um,
God is in control.
because God
Yeah,
is in control, and that's what we
that's
that's
right.
what we shouted back out at you,
That's
because
right.
God is in control. I
Everything's going
remember that
wrong
because
just
we
right.
before you left the stage, you wanted to make sure that we knew that.
Yep.
But
Because
that's
God is in
okay.
control.
That way you knew that we were listening, and even though I don't remember right now, I know that I did shout back, and
You
I knew that
did. Oh yeah.
God, and God is
Well,
in
and
control.
I hope that gives people, especially if someone's listening today that is struggling with addiction, it makes you understand that you've got to look for those silver linings. God knows what He's doing. He's putting you through this test, He's putting you through this work so that you can be a survivor and an authority on the other side of it. So you have to have faith that He's in control. You're going to be able to come out of it, but you're going to have to ask for help. I mean, you can't do it alone. He's going to have to help you. Your friends and family are going to have to help you. And it is truly, I'm a living testament, as many other people are, that we can all overcome our worst, live our best. I was walking the streets barefooted, one of the worst crack addicts you could ever imagine. You probably can't even imagine me seeing me now, what it was, but I have pictures. It was horrific. It was a complete transformation. And
Hmm.
if I can do it, you can do it.
That's
The
right. I
person
mean,
listening.
the worst of the worst. So,
Yeah.
can you give words of encouragement to any young person that is struggling with drugs, or man or woman that is struggling with domestic violence?
Well, the domestic violence, I want to say, I hear you, I understand, but first of all, you have to leave. You have to get out. There is no questioning. He will not change, or she will not change. An abuser does not change. It gets worse and worse and worse. You go through cycles. Honeymoon phase is what we call it, but it will get worse and worse. So you need to plan your exit with an expert. You need to talk to someone, reach out to a hotline, reach out to a counselor, reach out to an expert that knows, so that you can exit safely, um, and to just start making your plan and do it. Period. Don't wait. Do it now, because there might not be a tomorrow to plan it. So do it now. For the addict that's out there struggling, I just want to say, I kind of already did, that there's hope, that you can overcome this. Um, Give yourself the space and time to forgive yourself. Shame and guilt was huge for me, Steve, especially after killing someone in that car wreck. That was my biggest struggle. And oftentimes during my addiction, I would do things I was so shameful about that the shame itself would have me relapsing over and over again. So you have to put the work in. You have to learn what's hurting you inside and heal yourself. So you have to put the work in, heal yourself, and then forgive yourself, because until you forgive yourself, it's going to be a constant cycle where you want to forget the pain, you want to numb the pain, you want to escape the pain. So the key is to get rid of the pain.
Amen. I love. See, you gave me my title of the show, Silver Linings. When I saw that throughout the book, I was like, I now know that that's why my book or my show is named Silver Linings.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
thank you,
because
Steve.
you're welcome. Because I saw that Silver Linings, and every time you mentioned Silver Linings, I was like, oh man, there, my
Yeah,
friend, or my friend and manager, and Matt, he's like, we need to change your name or your show to Silver Linings, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, well now I know why, because I read
Well,
your
that's
book.
awesome.
So we need
God's
to
working.
close here in a few minutes, but I think that your information for your book is down below in the banner, correct?
StepUpAndSpeakOut.com. You can get it on Amazon. Pretty much all the bookstore websites, Walmart, Target even carry it, so you can get it there. But if you want a signed copy, it's best to go to StepUpAndSpeakOut.com, or you can also go to MistieLayne.com and order it there, and I can mail you out a signed copy.
All right. Well, we've got a great show coming up. I don't know if we got a classic episode.
It's got to be a classic
It's going to
episode.
be a classic episode of something, and then we've got changing times after that. So, but Missy, thank you so much. I've been looking so forward to talking to you again and having you on the show, and Dr. Hillary or Pastor Hillary is going to be my guest, I think, next week. So,
Yeah, she was on
and
my show last night.
yeah, that's why I thought, man, and I'm just glad that you're back. I hope your back is better.
Yes. Yeah, I'm better now. Thank you. I hope
Good.
you, and I pray for you, Steve, too, that you get through everything and that God heals you right on up.
Well, thank you very much. And when I get to Texas, or I plan on it, I'll give you a call and let you know, and
Yes.
we can meet at Bucky's.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
please say hi to Teresa, will you?
I will. I sure will.
And you guys take care of yourselves.
All righty. Bye. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye bye. Well, folks, that will do it for me. Until next week. And looking forward to seeing this classic episode. It's a question mark. I'm not sure what it is, but it'll be good, I'm sure. And then changing times, and we'll see you next week. Take care. God bless. We love you. God loves you, and so do I. Bye bye.